The dominoes from Baylor University's scandal continuing to fall. Art Briles is looking for work. Baylor had conversations with SMU head coach Chad Morris, who may have priced himself out of that job with a 5-year, $24.5 million price tag. So Baylor looks for a permanent coach and a permanent university president, but the former Baylor athletic director, who resigned 4 days after he was put on probation by the school in that bloodletting there, he has found work at another faith-based university. Understand, as you watched Jerry Falwell Jr. yesterday introduce Ian McCaw as the new Liberty University athletic director, that until that moment, no one in the school's athletic department had any idea McCaw was being hired.
It's just an incredible achievement under Ian McCaw's watch. Now I want to welcome to Liberty University, Mr. Ian McCaw.
And by the way, Liberty University and Baylor in football, they play each other next year to begin the 2017 season down in Waco. And Falwell yesterday went on speaking confidently about his new hire.
He's a godly man of excellent character. He's someone I've gotten to know in recent weeks, and could not be more excited about this announcement. But Mr. Ian McCaw, under his leadership at Baylor University, the athletic department has achieved extraordinary academic, athletic, and administrative success since his arrival on September 8, 2003. He was the 12th director of athletics at Baylor, but since 2003, Baylor has enjoyed the most competitively successful period in the history of its intercollegiate athletics program.
So bear in mind that this month, with Baylor trying to recover from the athlete sexual assault scandal, complete with cover-ups and callous treatment of female victims, Baylor said that McCaw, along with Art Briles, knew about the allegation of a gang rape by several Baylor athletes and did not report it. The reporter, Jake New of Inside Higher Ed, pursued this further with Liberty. How could the school hire McCaw in light of the wreckage left behind at Baylor? And the school offered this response. He, McCaw, is a godly man of excellent character. His decision to resign at Baylor was his own choice. It was in no way a forced resignation or firing. If he made any mistakes, they appear to be technical and unintentional, out of line with an otherwise distinguished record. We spoke with people he worked with at Baylor, including a regent who heard everything the investigating law firm has had to say about what happened at Baylor. We are completely satisfied that Ian McCaw is a good man and a great athletic director. So, to put it politely, someone somewhere is dissembling, or worse, or someone is being willfully ignorant. At stake, either the safety of students or an executive's reputation. Campus sexual assault occurs everywhere. Just 2.5 months ago, Liberty University suspended 2 football players in connection with an alleged sexual assault from the year prior. The players were found guilty by the school of violating the student code. At least one student was thrown out of school, even as a police investigation resulted in no criminal charges being filed. As today we say hello to Damian Sordelet, who covers Liberty University sports for the News in Advance in Lynchburg, Virginia. And hello to Jessica Luther, who we have spoken with often on this topic. She's the author of the new book, Unsportsmanlike Conduct, College Football and the Politics of Rape. It is good to have you here. Damian, it's been reported, and Brett McMurphy had this report yesterday, this was a surprise hire even within the school. How and why did Mr. Falwell choose to do it that way?
Well, in the past, we've had a lot of leaks at Liberty where a lot of things have gotten out ahead of time. I think Jerry held this one very close to the chest. Didn't want a lot to get leaked out, especially as he used a search firm. Grant Tafe, part of that search firm, and he is former AD and head football coach at Baylor. And in talking with Falwell, he said Tafe had nothing but high regard for McCaw, who he was as a man, and how he handled the situations at Baylor. And that's what led Falwell to pursue this opportunity with Ian McCaw.
Right. And if I could ask you what McCaw's stated goals out as the new AD at Liberty, where has he set his sights for the school?
They're going to continue what Jerry Falwell wanted them to do following the 2012 commencement address, which was move up to the FBS level. And McCaw echoed those sentiments yesterday. Liberty has the facilities. They've been spending at a Power 5 level, and they are an FCS program that just hopes to get its foot in the door with a Group of 5 conference. And I think Liberty's trying to get its facilities up to par with where conferences at an FBS level would want to see a program of that stature at, and that's what they're trying to do.
All right, so the hire has been made. It was done stealthily because of, as Damien said, a history of leaks. Jessica, let me get your take first on just this particular hire in these circumstances.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to hear what Damien said about the idea that it's leaks. I mean, part of it, there's been anger from Liberty alumni. You have to wonder if they knew that this was going to come and they tried to make sure that they didn't have to deal with the criticism beforehand as part of the decision making. I mean, this is troubling. It's, you know, part of the discussion around what happened at Baylor is if the desire to build a football team into a powerhouse is part of why they overlooked so many problems that they had with their players off the field. And to hear that same rhetoric again at Liberty, I don't know, it's concerning.
But the quote from the podium yesterday, I believe, from Mr. Falwell was that McCaw was a good man in a bad situation, and he felt the need to get out of a bad situation.
I'm okay. I don't know. We don't know anything about what McCaw learned when he went through all of this. I mean, this is part of what I struggle with when we talk about whether or not Art Briles should get a new job. We don't know what these men have learned by what they went through. And, you know, the idea that there's no accountability here. They didn't even bring it up at the press conference, what had happened over the last 5 to 6 years with off-the-field issues with football players at Baylor. I mean, until Jake New really pushed it, we didn't hear anything about it. And that, I don't know, I would be very concerned if I was a student at Liberty looking at this situation right now.
Damien, what has been the reaction, the alumni base, the donor base, Lynchburg community about this? I mean, McCaw comes in with impeccable athletic credentials, and of course, as we said, Baylor said he knew and didn't report, and Liberty says we looked into this and everything's fine. All right, the truth is somewhere on one side or the other of that ruler, but what's the reaction been?
The reaction has been about 75-25. 75% are incredulous with the hire, and then 25% say, let's give him an opportunity. And I'll echo the sentiments. I asked Ian yesterday about that, and he definitely chose not to answer the question because there is legal issues going on in court right now, and I think he wants to make sure he doesn't just disrupt that at all. And I believe, and I got the sense from him that there will come a point in time when he will discuss everything that happened. And from what President Falwell told me yesterday, and from reports I've read, in the Washington Post, the Waco Herald Tribune, is that McCaw was asked twice about separate instances of what happened on campus. The first time he did not know anything that happened, and in the second instance he admitted that he knew what happened. And then Falwell was willing to tell me that during his conversations with McCaw leading up to the hiring, he asked him about that, specifically the 2012 incident that was reported earlier this month about the 5 players gang raping a female student athlete. And from what Falwell said, McCaw told him, McCaw had the understanding that Art Briles went to proper authorities, which would be the Judicial Committee at Baylor, and informed them of that. However, the Judicial Committee has said, Briles never came to them.
Yeah.
And when says this,
so it's a lot of details, and the school says, at least Liberty, that they're satisfied. I wish we had more time. We will be back to this topic. Damien, Sordelet, Jessica Luther, thank you both very much for joining us today. And next, yeah, there's the team bus, but it's only for the team.